Hey everybody, you've reached Elizabeth and Joanne with World's Cup of Joe, Awaken Your Soul. Welcome to our channel. This is your home for balanced, neutralized energy for your twin flame connection. We will talk about soul all the time in this channel. And the reason why is because your twin flame is your soul. Get into the energy of soul and watch how magnetic you become. It's all about energy. So you're going to be on this channel, you're going to hear about energy, you're going to hear about soul, and you are going to start being in the energy of balanced, neutralized energy that draws in your twin flame. Seriously, look at comments in our videos. You'll see that people have magnetized merely from watching our free content on YouTube. It is powerful, this energy. So what do we do and how do we help those in this journey? Well, we have created a life-changing, and I will always say it's life-changing because that's what it is, a life-changing 30-day twin flame detox program. And beautiful souls that go all in their detox, seriously, their life has changed. We get messages all the time, not only about magnetizing their person back in, because that happens too, but getting to a place of peace and love and self-love that they've never experienced before in their life. And that's why we say, of course, when they've magnetized their person back in, because that's what we teach you. We teach you how to shift out of the energy of mind and get into the energy of soul and become magnetic to your twin flame. And then we organically created a program, a balancing program. Nobody else has one. Seriously, nobody else has a balancing program like ours, if they even do have a balancing. And it was because so many beautiful souls were magnetizing their twin flames back in after they did our detox. And it was like, well, what do we do now? What do we do now? My person just contacted me. What do I do? So it felt so urgent. Joanne and I created an ultimate balancing program that will literally guide you step by step in how to balance the energy so that you never push again, right? You never push again. And we are both in permanent relating experiences with our twin flames. So we watch this energy meticulously every single day so that we never push again. And we want to share and guide you in this journey. So with that being said, let's get on to the question. Here's the question. Is it that you don't push like you used to in balancing phase 2? What's different to the push in stage 1 of balancing? Like, I know if he doesn't reply, I was in mine, but he always comes back, whereas he would run before.
So what's changed in balancing phase 2 is you've changed. Because if he doesn't respond, like, let's get real, my love, you don't give an F, which is huge because we used to give an F. The part of us that used to give an F was the one in balancing phase 1 or separation. So in order to keep our person around, we have to get to a point where we're in balancing phase 2 where we don't give an F about our person to make us whole. And I really love your beautiful questions, love, because you're such a spiritual freaking badass, because the questions you ask are like about him, but you really don't care, right? It's like, I know he's not going to respond, but he's still going to come, right? That's the place of soul that doesn't give an F. Whether he responds or not, I'm good. I'm going to focus on me, and I'm going to give myself all the love, energy, and attention I need. And voila, he's here. He always comes. And Elizabeth just said in one of our videos as a new tagline, love. So the new tagline is, of course. You guys know that. That's our main tagline. But there's a second follow-up to, of course. It is, of course, and they're always there. And they're always there. And they're always there. And they're always there because when you are in soul, my love, of course, and guess what? Your twin flame is always there. And that's what happens with the balancing phase 2. The difference between balancing phase 1 is you still give an F about your person, and you have a preference about how your person should show up to feel worthy, to feel whole, to feel validated, to feel complete. You're so dependent on your person to be in soul. When you can choose you, align with soul, whether your person is there or not. But guess what, my loves? When you are aligned with soul, They come always, of course, and they're always there. They're never going to leave so far, because you're never going to push so far, because you now know who you are, which is soul. It's really powerful when you know who you are and remember who you are. And you've shifted so much energetically that you're never going to forget who you are anymore. I know and I see that I am soul. And I know and I see that my soul is always there every time I recognize I am soul. And guess what? I'm aligning with soul for me, not for them. And that is that permanent shift where you're always going to make it about you and feeling good for you. Me and Elizabeth earlier were talking about someone that we are trying to figure out if they are in a twin flame connection or not, right? And this is like someone in our life, like a family member. So this is someone that we are observing their relationship or situation they're in. And it feels like there's an energy of it could be a twin flame, or is it a soulmate? And it was actually really, really cool, where I told Elizabeth, like, oh my gosh, can you imagine, like, if this is their twin flame, they're connected forever, like forever, ever. And guess what Elizabeth said? And she said, every time she's in soul, he's going to be there. And that's what we mean, my loves. That's what we mean by this. Once you have mastered your energy, because that's really what we teach here in this channel. That's what we teach to all of you. Once you've mastered your energy to being soul and permanently being soul, your soul's never going to be far ever again. That's how you permanently stay in a permanent relating experience, is your soul is always going to be near you, craving you. And your person's tied to you forever because they are you. They are your soul. What a permanent, like, connection that you all get to have with your twin flame. They're so freaking lucky. They're stuck to you forever. And every time you're in soul, whether they like it or not, they're going to be there. Whether they like it or not, whatever they have going on, your priority. It's crazy how much power you all have. It's crazy how much power you have when you know how powerful you are. And that's what this question is asking, my loves. How did I get to this place where I'm now able to bring them in all the time? And how did I get to this place where I know I'm going to push, but I'm not going to push that much? And this is a reflection of your balanced energy and you just really owning your alignment to align with soul for you and not for your person. And guess what? Of course, they are always there. They're always there. They're always there because they are you. Holy freaking smokes. Like, that question was so deep. I didn't even like check in with you, love. What do you think? Go ahead. Sorry.
Okay,
I just went,
so
whoosh.
no, you're good. You're good.
Go ahead.
So let's start with text messages, right? So text messages in balancing phase one, you're still sort of taken by surprise with them, or you're still like, you're not really expecting them, right? Because you've been so focused on yourself in separation phase two and really learning to love yourself. And then of course they come in, right? And so the mind gets taken by surprise. And here's the difference in the energy of a cell phone call or a text message in balancing phase one versus balancing phase two. Balancing phase one, that spike happens immediately and the mind gets activated. I need to respond. I need to respond. What do I say? What do I say? What do you think they'd want me to say? Blah, 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 blah. And the focus turns immediately onto them. What am I going to say to them to make them happy or to make them want me? The focus is entirely on them. That's balancing phase one, where what are they thinking, doing, and feeling? That's what the mind does in balancing phase one. Balancing phase two looks like this. I got a text for them. How do I feel right now? I don't feel the greatest. My energy's a little low. I woke up sort of grumpy. You know what? I'm going to hold off messaging them because I know that I want to message them when I'm not in mind and when my vibration's higher. So let me hold off even reading their message for now because I want to make sure I'm in the best energy possible in all my interactions with them. Notice the difference. The first one, balancing phase one, you're so consumed. The mind is so consumed with them. Balancing phase two, it's all about you and how you feel. Now let's go into visiting them. They want to set up a date with you. Balancing phase one, you're going to do anything and everything to see them. Why? Because the mind craves them. They are an addiction. It sparks and activates that addictive energy that you had that pushed initially. right? So the mind starts, what do I do? What do I wear? What do we say? What do we talk about? How long are we going to be together? And it starts going into future, starts going into past. That's balancing phase one. Balancing phase two, and I've shared this story before, and Joanne shared it for me before. Balancing phase two looks like this. Your person asks to see you. How do I feel right now? Do I want to go out? I'm sort of tired. Maybe I'll just tell them I'll see them another day because I really don't feel like going out. Like if I ask myself what will bring me joy right now, it's really going home, sitting in bed and listening to a meditation or reading a book. Again, notice where the intention and focus is on in these energies. And I told you guys before, when I was in balancing phase two, when I was actually able to balance this energy, right before we started living together again, my person called me and he was like, hey, do you want to come over to my apartment and hang out with me tonight? And I was tired. I'd worked all day. I'd driven 2 hours back and forth, dropping my kids off to their dads. And I was really tired. And for the first time ever, I had told him, no, I was tired. I was going to go home and I would see him later. And I called Joanne up and I was like, I just said no to seeing him. Oh my gosh, I feel so proud of myself. That's balancing phase two. Where is your focus? And now a final example for you guys. Seeing them in person during balancing phase one. The mind still runs amok with, what are they saying? What does that mean? Analyzing every single thing they say, or else ruminating on the things they say. The focus is still on them. Balancing phase two. What do I feel like? What do I want to respond with? Am I responding from mind right now, or am I in soul? Man, I have a question for him, but man, questions are from mind. So I'm just going to hold that question in. And if he wants to talk about something, I'll let him talk about it. And I will just listen, and I will just be present with whatever conversation we have, and always keep it in this now moment. Feel the different energies between balancing phase one and balancing phase two. So when you ask, why do I know I'm not going to push that way? Because it's easy to still get in mind, even in balancing phase two. The difference is how quickly, it's like a rubber band snapping back, how quickly we come back to the place where we focus back on ourselves each and every time. The shift is permanent. When you get from balancing phase one into balancing phase two, the shift is permanent. Yes, you may get in mind. Yes, you may push a little bit, but you're so quick to come back to your focus of you that you align back to soul, and your person comes right back. Now in balancing phase one, you're still struggling with making it about you. Struggle is real, learning how to finally make it about you. And the same thing goes on with balancing phase one into balancing phase two. But once you've shifted there, it's permanent, my loves. You are now 100% in the knowing of how to always bring it back to you. And eventually, even thinking about what they're thinking, doing, and feeling is no longer an issue. It just doesn't happen anymore. The focus is always on me. What do I feel like? And you are always analyzing yourself and your energy. How do I get to this place where I feel better each and every day? That's the difference between those two phases.
So that permanent shift, this is what you brought me to, love. Why are we permanently shifted now, right? Like why is it that we can't ever go back? Well, I can't ever go back because going back to separation or balancing phase one means I'm going to not be me. I'm going to have now see him separate again, and I'm going to have to now make him priority over me, and I'm going to have to make what he's doing, what he's thinking, what he's feeling my focus. And I don't ever want to get to that place anymore energetically, because I've surrendered him so much that there's no part of me that ever wants to figure him out anymore. I want to figure me out. I've been trying to figure him out this whole time that I'm surrendered to me. I want to surrender to me. I surrender him. And me and Elizabeth always tell you guys, we surrender our people every freaking day. We can see the mind want to push and focus on them, and we leave the house and we're like, I surrender my person. I surrender my person. I need nothing from my person. I need nothing from my person. I am literally whole. I am soul. I am complete. Because we know how it feels to lose ourselves with our person. I've pushed so much that I lost myself, so much to the extent that I'm never ever going to push as bad as I ever did. before, because I'm never going to lose myself again, ever again.
Ourselves. I don't think we knew ourselves. We had never found ourselves. And I think the transition is actually we found ourselves and we never want to lose sight of this love of self that we found. Because I didn't know myself before. Like I knew some stuff, but I was willing to drop everything of myself and the identity I had to conform to what I thought would people please, whether it was my family, whether it was my person, whoever it was. So my identity was sort of always shifting based on who I was around. I was almost like this chameleon, not in a bad way, but just in a like, you know, I was putting on different hats based on who I was with to please them. And now it's like, now I found myself, the hat always says Elizabeth. I found her. And there's nobody in my life now that I ever change who I am around. It is just me. Like, so if you hear me talking to you, Joanne, if someone heard me talking to my sister, if someone heard me talking to another friend, the stuff I talk about, the way I talk, it's always consistent now. There is no more people pleasing hats. There is no more different versions of me. We found ourselves in this.
It's like no F's given. We're speaking through soul.
Yes.
We don't people please to our parents. We don't people please to strangers. We don't people please to our people anymore. We please us. It's soul. No F's given. I choose me and I pick me.
Yes. And they're there too.
And they're too. Of course.
Of course.
Of course they're there. I think we're just going to start singing like quotes out of this twin flame connection forever. It's going to be like ongoing, like continuation of this quote that is forever. And that's what's cool, because the energy doesn't change, right? Energy doesn't lie. Energy speaks for itself.
Energy is predictable. Very predictable.
It totally is. It totally is, because we could have a client on the call and the client could be like, oh yeah, no, I'm not in addictive energy. Totally not in addictive energy. And then they start talking about their person and the story and like this nonstop cycle of the past and the future. And we're like, my love, you're still in separation consciousness and you're still in the energy of separation phase 1. Or it could be someone who's balancing and they're like, my person, what are they doing? What are they thinking? What are they feeling? And they're like, oh, I'm totally balanced. And it's like, my love.
Always focused on your person. And then it's almost like this. We can see the questions they ask. And based on the questions they're asking, if it's all based on their person, we pretty much know.
Also can recognize when someone is shifting. We can feel it when they start booking sessions and they're not even talking about their person. Like they know they wanted to talk about their person, but right now we're talking about this deep-rooted thing that we're dealing with my mom, or we're talking about one of my soul sisters that I'm having like an issue with, or I'm talking about this insecurity that I'm dealing with. Nothing to do with your person. And guess what? We never even talked about your person, and the call's over. And that was why they called. And it was like, wow, this person's shifting. And no wonder why their person's in their life. No wonder why their person is always there, because they're in this place of focusing on them and their journey and making this journey about them. So the permanent shifts that happen between balancing phase 1 and the balancing phase 2 is you start worrying about what you're thinking, what you're feeling, what you're doing, and you're worried about you, and you're focusing on you, and you're never looking back to your person ever again in the way that you ever did before, because now it's always going to be about you from here on out. It's always going to be about you from here on out, because you've shifted so much energetically that you're always going to choose you now in all of your interactions. And you're becoming the best version of you through your connection with your person, through your connection with your soul purpose, through your connection with the people around you, through your ability to create the life that brings you joy. Like, you start working through everything in your life deeper than you ever did before, beyond the just your person, my loves. And your person's there too. Your person's coming forward more and more and more. The more and more and more you're focusing on you and you're making it about you. That's the permanent shifts. And those are the shifts that are working towards balancing phase 2 that will never go back to making it about your person again, because you've shifted permanently in yourself and you uncovered the true you. I guess you didn't lose yourself because you've always been there. You just forgot you were soul. We love you guys so much. We hope that all of you can shift through these energies and see where your energy is at, because energy can move and transition beyond where it's at just from raising its vibration and consciousness. So even if you're in separation, it's okay. You could be out of separation today, literally, as soon as you release and surrender and make it about you again. And that's where you shift. And that's the same thing with balancing. You could go from balancing phase 1 to balancing phase 2 as soon as you shift energetically beyond making it about your person.
I want to stress this for people who are in balancing phase 1 and getting to balancing phase 2. It's not something that is like, ooh, I know I'm in balancing phase 2 now. It's sort of like this, it's like a gradual energy shift. That's at least how it felt for me. It wasn't like an overnight thing. It was at this gradual place where I just became more conscious of my own energy. And there were still times that I would push and I would channel it back. I would recognize that I was pushing. And then as soon as I recognized that I pushed, I would then have to sort of have this internal dialogue. Why did I just push? What's going on? And how do I get back to a place of neutrality so I don't push anymore? And sometimes I had to sit with that, and it was really hard. So I want to give those that are in balancing phase 1, I want you to know that it is hard work and we're there with you. Like, I don't want you guys to be hard on yourselves. If something happens and you push, it's okay. You just have to say, okay, I'm coming back to soul. How do I refocus to me? And how do I come back to soul? Because that's really all that matters, is refocusing back onto me and refocusing on my alignment.
Yeah, we love you guys so much. We hope you have an amazing day. Bye, love.
Bye, love.